On today's episode of the Pathmonk Presents, I've got a very special guest with me joining today. Please welcome Bernadette, who is the marketing director for Geeks Who Drink. Bernadette, thank you so much for joining us today. I'm super excited to learn more about you, all of your successes and things to learn your career, and also who Geeks Who Drink is. I've heard about your company and I'm a really huge fan, so thanks again for taking time to join us today.
Thanks so much for having me, Mariah. I'm happy to be here.
Yeah, absolutely. It's our pleasure. So, all of our audience listeners, give us an insight. What is Geeks Who Drink all about?
Sure. So Geeks Who Drink is a nationwide leader in producing live event bar trivia to local venues across the country. We partner with bars and restaurants from local breweries to chains like Dave & Buster's on a client level to help cultivate an audience for their event programming. So while we're working with over 700 customers, like at present in the US, we also have another audience of our dedicated quizzing community. So with over 35,000 weekly quizzers coming to our events, we have a really devoted bottom line to those folks to deliver an edifying and entertaining content on a consistent basis. So we are a live event bar trivia company.
It's really cool.
Yeah,
that's really, really cool. I was looking on your guys' website and I'm like, I had no idea it existed until recently, and seeing all the events you guys do and checking out your social channels. It's really great.
Yeah. It's an incredibly fun product to work on, and equally fun and interesting people within the organization. So yeah, it's very cool.
Yeah, it is. So now in terms of your clients, how would you say they typically find you? Would you say that a lot of it is through partnerships, word of mouth, referrals, digital marketing, inbound? Give us an insight.
Yeah, it's a great question. When we're talking about prospective clients, most commonly our customers are finding us when they themselves are doing research on our products. So we do a good job, being efficient using high intent keywords from a branded and non-branded perspective on search. But a large swath of our customers are coming to us the old-fashioned way through word of mouth and referrals, or commonly having experienced the product on their own in action and then seeking us out after having a positive experience with the brand. So we also work with leads from direct mail, which has a longer ROI cycle, but it's still really valuable with our prospect audience. And we plan on testing our email marketing channels in new pipelines in collaboration with our sales team this quarter. So that's, primarily acquisition from a client perspective. But when we're talking about our base of quizzers, we tend to focus on awareness channels. So getting the quizzers out to our events is the flywheel of value for our clients. So if we drive people to our clients' businesses and get butts and seats, then we're delivering on the value we know we have, right? So our website is a key conversion tool for quizzers, pushing them to our homepage to let folks know about events happening in their area. We have a large focus on organic social at the moment as well, connecting with influencers and national sponsors to drive additional awareness for the brand. So, for example, in Q2, we did a 6-week partnership with Hulu as well as with NBC for the Weakest Link. And it's great exposing our audience to brands and entertainment properties that they are aligned with, and also finding new audiences through those partners. So when you think about acquisition for us, it's 2 different personas that we are pursuing.
Yeah, definitely. But I think it's great how you guys have so many different avenues as to how you guys are, bringing in people, how people are finding you overall. So it's a very solid plan, and that's really great. So now, in your own words, I want to know what you think about the Geeks Who Drink website. So what would you say are the major strengths, and where are there opportunities for room for improvement as well?
Oh my goodness, the website. I'm so glad you asked. Yeah. So much to say about the website. As I mentioned earlier, it is a key conversion tool when it comes to that quizzer persona. It's a great tool to let people know how to find us. We are a national brand that we talk to people locally. So being able to kind of surface events in their area is really kind of the main purpose for our website in its current state. We aren't putting our best foot forward in terms of our core value propositions for prospective clients. So we just went through a major brand refresh internally. I am so excited that the new site will be externally communicating our new positioning and pillars in a much deeper way. For example, we have several capabilities that we aren't like really clearly talking about on our site. So our next iteration will be showcasing more concisely our partnership with brands, like I mentioned earlier with Hulu and NBC most recently. We also have a fundraising NPO program called Quiz for a Cause, where we connect with local charities and NPOs and kind of introduce them to our local quiz events and use that as a really strong mechanism to, build community and raise money. And our value to our clients will be even more kind of clearly communicated for what we can offer that gives us a competitive advantage over the rest of our landscape.
Yeah, it does. And especially too, with with the partnerships that you guys have. And then also with, I feel like with Geeks Who Drink, especially too with like the whole persona and you're the core values, with adding that human element, you're bringing people together, especially too with coming out of like a pre-pandemic era and now having quiz nights and having these events in person again is really bringing back, how life was before COVID. So I think it's really great with where, even though there are so many companies that are still either being remote or trying to be hybrid, where Geeks Who Drink is really bringing everybody together again, bringing back that atmosphere and cultivating that overall.
That's exactly right. I mean, community is a huge pillar, not just for the organization externally, but internally. We have a really amazing group of hosts that we call Quizmasters. That are, incredibly involved in our community, community as it relates to our quizzers having a weekly ritual with friends, having a date night, having a family night. We have a lot of, venues that have more family friendly PG daytime kind of quizzes and it's just an opportunity for everyone to connect. I know I had that before I had children, where we had weekly rituals with friends that we could go out after work. And it just gives people a really laid back environment to kind of be competitive and get some entertainment for the night, educate themselves. It's a very powerful product that way, because the impact we have on people's nights and days is seen in real time.
Yeah, it is definitely. So now I want to talk about you as a leader. So elaborate on us. Tell us, your growth story in terms of, how you got here to Geeks Who Drink and ultimately became the marketing director.
Sure. I was initially brought in to, kind of establish and evaluate marketing channels for acquisition, awareness, and retention. My background is in brand marketing. So I'm an inside out marketer. I need to start with purpose of, kind of understanding brand and establishing why we exist. So starting with that purpose and really branching out from there. So I noticed some key foundational elements were missing, and an overall brand architecture needed to be established and aligned with a growth strategy. So alongside key stakeholders and, internally, and kind of fueled by insights that we were given from our very articulate quizzer community, we were able to create an architecture that installed guidelines and opened the aperture for future innovation pipeline work. So with that established, we were moving forward in the execution stage, and the aforementioned brand refresh will be complete mid Q3. So as far as my management style, I take a real bottom up approach. I like to connect with my team, establish targets, and then collaborate on what the upcoming goals and best tactics to hit those targets are that play to the team's strengths. I can be a resource and a partner and get them what they need to achieve their targets. But I always take a test and learn approach in everything that we do, especially with limited budgets. We have to be collaborative and creative. And like I said, playing to people's strengths, I think is kind of where we win. So that's a little bit about where we are now and kind of what led me to Geeks.
That's awesome. No, thanks for sharing and elaborating too. And I love how you capitalize on playing into people's strengths, because ultimately that is where, it helps for a team to not only grow, but to be able to push like, the boundaries creatively, collaboratively, and then really be able to like hit like targets or goals wherever it is, like within like each quarter, reach the OKR. So I think that's really great that you are pushing your team to lean into their strengths and how you can be able to help them. So that's awesome.
It sounds really corny, but it's true. Like I do think everybody has a superpower, and I think mine is being able to assess a landscape and understand what's needed to kind of get to the next level. And a lot of that can be where I am inept and somebody else is stronger. I absolutely want to make sure that that person is leading and kind of taking the charge when they have the know-how and the knowledge to get us there. So I think it's that is like, again, playing to my strength, which is like puzzle pieces and being able to kind of connect the dots that way, and then making sure that the right team is in place to get us to the next level.
Definitely. I agree with you 100%. So now we're at the end of our interview today, and I want to thank you so much for joining us on the podcast. But I also want to give you the last word. If anyone were to forget about everything we've talked about today in your interview, what is the one thing you want them to remember about Geeks Who Drink?
Oh my goodness. Geeks Who Drink, we exist to make the world smarter, right? And we believe that knowing things is fun. Like, having that little piece of information that can spark your interest and put you down a rabbit hole of wanting to take deep dives on subjects really just broadens your horizons. It does expand your experience as a human, right? So when you think about something as small as like, oh, a trivia night, and I get very meta about it. It's like, actually, it's more than that. It's the accumulation of a well-lived human experience by learning and by knowing more. So we strongly believe, and the company's integrity to those standards is incredibly high. It's something that I really I can't underscore how impressed I am with every day with the people that are in this organization, how incredibly passionate and thoughtful they are about every single piece of trivia that goes out into the world. They really want to make sure not just like the basics of like fact checking with all those things, but it's entertaining. They understand that you're, as a person, is whether you're a client who is trying to build your business and turn a slow night into a busy one, we want to help you in that sense, and we want to help you achieve those goals. We want to help your business thrive and survive. But on a human level, and just from like the Quizzer content, we know that you're maybe getting a babysitter for the night, or it's a second date, or, like I said, this is one of the few precious times that you get to get away from work and have fun. So we want to make sure that you're not bored, that you walk away with a smile on your face, that you learn something. So the human impact of, kind of the good trivia is real. Like, there's things that people can tell you and you kind of can shrug it off and go, well, like, who cares? We want to make sure that you never hear an answer to a question, or hear a question and the answer comes to you and you say, well, who cares? We want to make sure that you're always intrigued and interested, and help our clients and our quizzers, kind of have a reason to connect and build a community.
Definitely. No, I really love that. Thank you again so much for sharing us all the great things that Geeks Who Drink is doing, and then also just sharing us your growth story overall. It was a real pleasure. So thank you again.
Yeah, I'm happy to do it. Thanks for taking the time.
Absolutely. And for all of our listeners out there, check us out next week.